Okay, so here I have a massive list of first names, and they're all stored in an array. So it says first names equals, there's the opening square brace, got a lot of commas, there's a closing square brace. And so this is a very, very, very large list. Um, and let's say I want to print out every name in the list. So we could definitely start. So we'll say console.log um, first names at the 0 position, and that'll print out Peter. And then I could hold Option Shift down and copy this, and then say, let's go print out Tony, who's in the first position. So we'll say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see this is getting tedious and long, and I'm also copying code. And you don't usually want to copy code. What it would be nice to do is if I could just have just one line of code that changed, because really the only thing changing here is this number, and then I could print out the list of names. Well, we do have that code, and it is called a for loop. So let's use a for loop to print out this list of names. So we're going to say for. With our for loop, we have to tell it where we want to start. Well, since the array starts at 0, then we should probably start at 0. So I'm going to say let counter equals 0, semicolon. And then we want to run for the array's length. So let's say the array just had 3 names in it. We would want our number to be 0, 1, and 2. And that would print out all 3 names because Peter's in the 0 position, Tony's in the 1 position, and Steve is in the 2 position. Well, how many names do we have in the list? I don't know about you, but I don't really want to count that. And I could do math and realize it goes from line 12 to line 45, but I also don't really want to do that. And sometimes our arrays are built um, where you can't see what's in the array. It's built based on things that have been entered in from a prompt. Or maybe you pulled this array and you got it from another computer. You may not know how many items are in the array, but there is a handy dandy function or attribute of an array that you can use. And so we can say first names dot length, and that tells us exactly how long our array is. So if there are 20 items in this array, first names comes out to 20. Well, now let's go back and look at this. So if Peter's in the 0 position, Tony's in the 1 position, and Steve is in the 3 position, if our array has 20 items in it, then this would be in position number 19, not number 20, because an array of 3 has this in position 2, not number 3. So we would want our counter to start at 0 and go almost up to the length of the name, because if we did 20, then we're looking for something that's not in our array anymore. If we do 19, then we're in our array. So we want to take whatever the length is and do one less than that. So the easiest way to write this is we'd say run our loop while the counter is less than the first name's dot length. Because as soon as the counter gets to the length, then we don't want to run our loop anymore. Remember, for loops are preconditioned loops. So it's going to check this condition before it tries to run the loop. Now, we started at 0 and we want to go up to a certain number. So in order to go up, we do have to increment. So we're going to say counter plus plus. Then we're going to put some curly braces here. And then we're going to console dot log first names. And then what position are we trying to log? Well, the first time we go through, we want to log 0. The second time we go through, we want to log 1. Now, if only there were a variable for that. And there is. We just made it. It's this counter variable. So if I say counter and I put a semicolon, I'm going to delete that and I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to close this and I'm going to click go live. And you can see it printed out all of the names. But that's kind of boring. I want you to like watch it happen. So here on the terminal, I'm going to hit clear. I'm going to type clear with 2 parentheses and a semicolon. That clears the terminal. Now I'm going to come to our sources tab and I'm going to put a break point right here on line 47 and I'm going to reload the screen. All right, so we've paused. Um, if we hover over first names, you can see it is an array with 31 names inside of it. So it turns out my count was off. I actually didn't count it. I just threw out a number, but there are 31 names in here. All right. So if we go to first names at the 0 position, then when counter is 0, first names at the 0 position will be Peter. So we're going to start our counter. So we'll hit next. Our counter is now 0. We'll hit next. Counter was less than first names dot length because the length is 32. So 0 is less than 32, so this loop is going to start. We hit next, and we should have just logged whatever name was in the 0 position. If we go to the console, sure enough, there's Peter. Well, now let's hit next. Our counter is now 1. 1 is less than 32, so we're going to hit next, and we're going to go to first names in the 1 position. So if we go to first names, we find 1, it's the word Tony. If we hit next, it should have logged it. If we come to our console, it's now logged Tony. And this will continue, and I'm actually going to remove the breakpoint and hit play, and it continues until we've done all 32 with the last name of Norin. And now we've successfully logged every name inside of our loop.